There were several incidents that I felt I was targeted. One initially being when the principal made the announcement over the intercom that I and everyone included within the school had to stand for the flag salute. You know, her words were, "You do not have to salute, but you will stand and show respect for the country that you live in." Standing for the flag salute is not a district requirement. As a matter of fact, the U.S. Supreme Court and federal courts have ruled that school districts cannot require students or staff to stand for the flag salute or participate in it for that matter. What she was doing was implementing her own beliefs onto the entire school. In addition, a non-black staff member tugged on my cultural clothing. I was wearing a dashiki, and when I was wearing the dashiki, she told me, "Well, what is it, Kwanzaa or something?" And I told her, "No, it's Black History Month." And she said, "Oh, I know that." And she laughed and walked inside of her classroom. And my students were concerned about my well-being because they were around, and they said, "Ms. Jackson, are you okay?" It was apparent that she was being facetious. It's not a matter of you not understanding my culture, you just don't respect it. And for me, that was an issue. I don't want to feel uncomfortable wearing cultural clothing to work and risk being mocked for it. She told me that this shirt was unacceptable. And it was unacceptable because it violated administrative regulations. An administrative regulation that she gave me was saying that I can't wear anything that pushed a political ballot or a political measure. Being black is not a political measure, it's not a ballot measure. And then she equated it to her wearing a Make America Great Again shirt. And I said, well, I don't really understand how it's equivalent to me wearing you wearing a Make America Great Again shirt, being that you get to choose who you want to support. I don't get to choose the skin that I'm in. And then to that point, she told me she's not going to discuss it any further with me and she doesn't want to get into it anymore, and I'm just not allowed to wear the shirt. She was asking about me outside of the school setting to other staff members as well. And I'm aware of this because staff members would come up to me and they would say, "Hey, are you and Ms. Jackson okay? She asked me about you." And to that extent, and then once that transpired, I felt like, okay, she has a personal vendetta against me and she's out to get me. That morning, I went into the district office and I filed the formal complaints. I was scheduled to have a meeting with the assistant superintendent, Luke Hogue, and I was under the impression that it was to renew my contract, being that they had asked me about my Sept passage, they had asked me about getting a letter of recommendation from my schooling program, all of the things that would allude to that I was coming back the following year. And so when I did come in, Luke Hogue told me that my contract isn't being renewed, and then he said it was based on ed code and me not being fully credentialed. However, when I was hired and when they were inquiring about the following year, they were aware that I wasn't fully credentialed. And they were aware that I was in the process of completing and was very near completion of the credential. When speaking with the superintendent, I felt like he understood where I was coming from and he understood my struggles. However, his response to me was, "This is the way education is, and you gotta just keep your head down and do what you need to do in the classroom." And that's when I explained to him, it's different, it's a lot more than just doing what I need to do in the classroom. If I'm being targeted, if I'm experiencing microaggressions, it's not about just doing what I need to do in the classroom. I can be the greatest teacher in the world, but if I'm experiencing a hostile work environment outside of the classroom, there's an issue with that.
The superintendent of the Greenfield Union School District is a black man, and I feel like a lot of times individuals in position of power feel the need to conform to the system that is already in place. Unfortunately, a lot of these systems that are in place are oppressive systems. So instead of going against the grain in the situation and doing what's right, a lot of times we just conform.
And I felt like his response to it was very dismissive. He could have been a little bit more proactive in the situation and we wouldn't be here where we are today. And then when I was let go, I was also told that I can no longer coach, which was confusing to me and my athletes because I was told I was let go for credentialing reasons. When I went onto campus, the I was able to raptor in, which is basically checks to make sure don't have any violent crimes or anything of that nature, which I don't. I'm still an educator. And I was able to raptor in, but the principal came down to the after school office and told me specifically, and my fiance, that we were not allowed on campus. A parent is able to come and watch their child in the after school program. So why am I not able to come and assist or spectate a team that I've been coaching for the past 4 years? She didn't provide me with an answer. Instead, she threatened to call the police. And she told me that if I didn't leave the campus, that she would call the police on me. The superintendent came down to the office and told me that not only that am I banned from Olivier Middle School, but I'm actually banned from any school within the district. And so at that point, I was very confused and I was demanding answers, but they wouldn't provide them for me. There was no reason to ban me from the campus in the first place because I'm not a threat, I'm not a safety threat. And that's exactly what they told students and staff. The parents were extremely upset that I wasn't able to coach. They wanted me to still be a part of the program, not necessarily labeled as a coach, but as a spectator that gave input. And they would then practice at parks. They would rent out gyms, and the parents were very much the orchestrators of that, so that way the program could still exist because they threatened to dismantle the program if I was still coaching. And so our season was still able to continue. And as a matter of fact, in February of 2020, just this past February, we actually won national champs. Well, when it's all said and done, I feel like I was targeted, and I feel like I was targeted because I am so proud to be in the skin that I'm in. And I was very vocal about being proud of my culture and being proud of who I am. And I felt like she took that as a threat, and it was something that she was very uncomfortable with. And I feel like she took me being proud of myself as some sort of radical movement that I was trying to push, and that wasn't it.
So it wasn't something that she was trying to push a political agenda. It wasn't something where she was trying to create a Black Power movement. It was love for self. And a lot of times in that community, those individuals aren't taught to love themselves. So that was just something that she was trying to convey in just the way that she carried herself on that campus, and it was taken as something radically different than the initial intent.
I feel like it's important for administrators and staff to be culturally competent and culturally aware for instances just like this, because if she were culturally aware, she wouldn't be questioning why it is that I'm showing love for the culture and why I'm showing love for my culture and the skin that I'm in. It's quite clear, it's quite evident. Look at the climate today. You know, it is important that we teach students self-love. And if we're not promoting that self-love within ourselves, how can we then push it to the students?